Finnish startup Onego Bio makes egg proteins using microbes rather than chickens, and it's just opened up its US headquarters in San Diego. But what is the appetite for its animal-free technology?
The price volatility, the availability problems, these avian flu outbreaks, they are just causing like serious problems for the egg buyers. So of course the daily problem is that how can we purchase the egg protein with the right price, and at the same time you're thinking about this longer term, which is the environmental footprint of your products. So if you're getting this 90% lower environmental footprint by solving something that you already have today, we see that as a win-win.
It's actually an excellent replacement for egg white because it contains all of the functionalities that you typically see in egg white, which includes binding, emulsification, foaming, and gelation, all from that one protein. And actually, if you replace egg white with albumin, you can usually use less albumin than you would typically use egg white, because in a typical egg white, albumin only makes up 54% of the total protein. And so if you raise that to almost 100% in the egg white replacement, then you can use less albumin because you'll get significantly more foaming, significantly more emulsification. So we've seen that in our bioalbumin, for example, we can actually decrease the amount and get the same exact product, or we can do a one-to-one replacement and actually get a better product out of it.
Okay, so from a kind of costing perspective, the cost in use aspect is pretty significant here. So if people are saying, how much does it cost? It's not necessarily comparing it on a weight by weight basis with...
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's definitely, for the different applications, we can see really improved functionality. You can use less of it, so it's not necessarily directly one-to-one. If anything, it's better.
Okay, what about applications? What kind of things have you been testing in the facility?
Yeah, we test anything that typically uses egg white because it's a really good replacement. We actually also test things that use whole egg, and that's because the main emulsifying protein that's in an egg white is albumin. And so if you take, again, that albumin and you increase it from 54 to 100% albumin, then you get a really good emulsifying protein. And so we're able to replace actually egg yolk in a lot of applications like mayonnaise, dressings, anything that requires the retention of oil, because we see really good properties in all of those applications with just the albumin.
Are there some areas where, particularly if people are currently using whole egg, where it doesn't really work, with an individual protein, that you've got to do some playing around with the formulation?
Yeah, so far we actually haven't really hit that wall yet. We've seen really good replacement for pretty much every application we've tried. If anything, we add some oil to make up for the fat content, because you still want that humectancy that you get from a whole egg, but for the most part, because we still have all the emulsifying properties, then we don't have to replace anything functionally.
So while fellow precision fermentation startup the Everyco is producing ovalbumin from yeast strains, you're using strains of fungus.
My co-founder, Chris Landowski, is this renowned molecular biologist and fungal biologist. He has about 20 years of experience working with the trichoderma. He knew that it's such a great platform for producing enzymes. So somewhere in 2015, 2016, he got this idea that could it be actually possible to utilize this for actually making the animal proteins, because it's really known to be so efficient and such a powerful platform. He's very experienced in the strain engineering, but also has a very, very bright business mind, which also is extremely good for a startup. If your technical team is only interested in the technology, that's never going to be enough. You need to have a technical team who absolutely wants the business to be successful. Yeah, trichoderma is this workhorse that has been used by the enzyme industry for decades. There is a good reason for that. It really has a super good efficiency capability. Trichoderma is a platform that is very, very difficult to access. So it's very well protected by IP. And it's also rather slow to develop. So for example, we have this spin-off from the VTT, Technical Research Center of Finland. They really started this development already in the 1980s, believe it or not. So that of course went to the enzyme research and so on, but really, really long development. So compared to something that could be just quite easily adjusted immediately for your uses, versus something that is slow to develop but gives really, really good efficiency and very, very high titers at the end of the day.
So can you share any numbers?
Trichoderma really has the ability to give more than 100 grams per liter, even 120 grams per liter. And this is proven scientifically in the literature. For example, the Onego team members have been working in the enzyme industry in the research projects with that kind of titers. So it's absolutely achievable.
But that's with specifically with ovalbumin, or is that with other kind of proteins?
Nobody really has developed ovalbumin this far yet. So this is something that is a specialty of the Onego team. We have had tremendous progress over time. I mean, we have been now working with this for about 2 years.
There are some commentators in this space that will say, oh yes, precision fermentation makes sense for, I don't know, human lactoferrin or something like that, super high value per kilogram, but it doesn't make sense for bulk egg and dairy proteins, for example. Would you dispute that, presumably?
So we are leveraging the technology that has been utilized by the enzyme industry already decades. So this is known to work extremely well. It's known to scale. We don't need to really invent those building blocks. We're just reinventing the purpose, what you're doing, and then at the same time we're solving somebody's problem with the product that is the same as the existing one.
So what is the timetable for getting to market? When might you start generating revenue?
We now have this partnership with the contract manufacturing ongoing, producing material already for the next year, looking forward to actually starting bigger industrial trials, early market launches and so on with the partners already next year. So hopefully generating revenues already in 2025. So we have now signed an LOI for a site in Wisconsin, Jefferson. We are now just starting this evaluation period for identifying suitability of that site to be the first bioalbumin factory. We are getting good results also from the co-manufacturing. At the same time, having this own manufacturing is of course going to be a game changer for the prices. So let's say that we can reach the adequate scale already with the contract manufacturers, but with own manufacturing is going to be like a completely different game.
So tell me about the regulatory status of your products in the US.
So today we have filed the dossier to FDA. We have decided to go through the official route instead of the self-GRAS route. The main reason for that is the customers are big CPGs. They would anyways require that. So that has been our first priority from the beginning. So the US is the first market. After that, we'll be also filing EFSA in Europe, and for example in Singapore is also in our plans.
Tell me a bit about the decision to set up a facility in the US and why you chose San Diego.
Our customers will be here in the US, so this is going to be our first market. It's very natural and very much needed to have our own home base here in the US. Of all places, we have decided to come here to San Diego mainly because of the biotech scene in here, the innovation hub. The city is supporting the biotech a lot of synergies. Also, this is a super nice city. People really love being here. The atmosphere is very nice. So
you got access to that talent pool locally.
Access to talent pool, access to all kinds of support services. We have now had this office and lab for a couple of months. So the opening ceremony was in September. And then yes, this is purely for the commercial purposes. So we have the sales teams, the application teams, food scientists who are supporting the customers. Those are going to be located in here. Onego altogether has like a little bit over 40 people at the moment. So majority is still in Europe, in Helsinki, where we have these molecular biology labs, fermentation labs, and so on. So this is purely for the commercial purposes. So Onego has raised approximately $75 million to date. It's of course challenging, everybody knows that. At the same time, we don't see that it has been that challenging for Onego. Maybe we are just like a little bit different kind of a company in that sense that we have always had this efficiency as the top priority because we started with the spin-off. We are sort of like, well, I don't know. I don't think that it's too much to say that we are light years ahead of many others who got started. So in 2.5 years, we already have got quite far. So all the way to the go-to-market phase. And yes, at the same time, I mean, we also have utilized a lot this non-dilutive funding. So we have utilized non-dilutive governmental funding both from the US and also from Europe, meaning that we have got like approximately 1/3 of the funding from the non-dilutive sources.
So is egg replacement seen differently than some other things in the so-called alt protein space?
The state of the egg industry is really justifying the use of this ingredient. So it's a $300 billion market where the supply chain is badly broken because of the avian flu, but also because of the K3 requirements currently. So the buyers really have hard time finding this really crucial ingredient with the right price, right availability. So there really is a great need for just not reinventing the ingredient, but really just reinventing the supply of that exact same ingredient.